The Swaggart family, long regarded as one of the pillars of modern gospel ministry, is now facing an unprecedented revelation. For decades, the family's public image was one of unity, faith, and dedication. Behind closed doors, however, a storm was quietly brewing, one that would eventually crack open the foundations of one of America's most renowned gospel dynasties. The silence breaks. Mathew Swaggart's wife, who has remained largely in the shadows of the family's spotlight, has now come forward to reveal what many insiders had quietly whispered about for years. There is a monumental rift between Donnie Swaggart and Gabriel Swaggart. The revelation has stunned followers, ministry staff, and loyal fans alike. For years, the Swaggarts maintained a veneer of family cohesion, but the truth, now laid bare, paints a far more complicated picture. "I can no longer stay silent," Mathew's wife confessed in a candid interview that has sent shockwaves through the gospel community. "The disagreements, the tension, the decisions made behind closed doors, it's all had a devastating impact on our family. People deserve to know the truth. A rift years in the making." The tension between Donnie and Gabriel is not a sudden occurrence. Sources close to the family indicate that it has been simmering for over a decade. The dispute is rooted in multiple layers: differences in ministry direction, decision-making authority, and deeply personal disagreements. Donnie Swaggart, as many insiders suggest, has long held considerable influence over both Gabriel and Mathew, often making unilateral decisions that created friction between the brothers. Gabriel, for his part, has reportedly felt marginalized in matters concerning family decisions, ministry strategy, and public representation. Those close to him claim that his attempts to assert influence were often met with resistance, leading to a growing sense of resentment. Mathew, caught in the middle, has been forced to navigate these turbulent waters with care, but it has taken a toll on his marriage, his ministry, and his personal well-being. Inside the family conflict, Mathew's wife revealed that Donnie's dominance in family matters extended beyond ministry decisions. "It affected everything," she said. "From personal relationships to public appearances, nothing was untouched." Gabriel often felt unheard, and Mathew tried to mediate, but even he was overwhelmed by the complexity of the situation. "The rift," she explained, "wasn't just about power. It was about values, priorities, and the future of the Swaggart ministry." Donnie's approach, which some insiders describe as authoritarian, often clashed with Gabriel's vision for growth and outreach. The resulting tension created an environment of mistrust and silent conflicts, which only escalated over the years. The emotional toll. The revelation has shed light on the emotional cost of these disputes. Mathew's wife described nights of tearful conversations, arguments that lasted hours, and moments of despair when it seemed as though reconciliation was impossible. "It's heartbreaking," she said, "to see your husband torn between loyalty to family and his own convictions. It's something no one outside the family can truly understand." For followers of the Swaggarts, the news is both shocking and deeply unsettling. The family has long been seen as a model of faith, unity, and divine calling. To learn that such deep divisions exist within the family structure challenges everything the public believed about the Swaggart dynasty. A public confession. What makes this revelation particularly explosive is the public nature of the confession. For years, members of the Swaggart family, including Mathew, Gabriel, and Donnie, have maintained strict control over what the world sees. By breaking her silence, Mathew's wife has thrown a spotlight on issues previously kept private. Her candidness is a dramatic departure from the traditional Swaggart approach of discretion and control. The confession has ignited a firestorm on social media, with followers dissecting every word and speculation running rampant. Hashtags like #SwaggartFamily, Donnie Swaggart, and #Gabriel Swaggart have trended, as fans and critics alike debate the ramifications of this revelation. The ministry at risk. Beyond personal and familial consequences, the rift has significant implications for the Swaggart ministry. Staff members, volunteers, and supporters have reportedly expressed concern about the leadership vacuum created by these tensions. Some insiders suggest that key decisions have been delayed, projects postponed, and initiatives left in limbo due to disagreements between Donnie and Gabriel. Mathew's wife warned that if these issues are not addressed openly, the ministry itself could face long-term challenges. "This is bigger than personal pride or family squabbles," she said. "It's about the legacy of our ministry, the work we've dedicated our lives to, and the people who rely on us for spiritual guidance." A call for reconciliation. Despite the drama, Mathew's wife emphasized that her goal is not to attack or vilify any member of the family. Instead, she hopes her revelation will serve as a wake-up call and a catalyst for reconciliation. We can't keep pretending everything is fine, she said. Acknowledging the truth is the first step toward healing, and I pray that we can find a way to mend these relationships before it's too late. The public reaction. The reaction to the confession has been swift and intense. Social media platforms are flooded with reactions from fans, critics, and fellow ministry leaders. Some express sympathy for Mathew and Gabriel, acknowledging the difficulty of navigating familial and spiritual obligations simultaneously. Others criticize the decision to go public, arguing that private matters should remain private. News outlets covering gospel and religious controversies have also jumped on the story, with analysts debating the long-term impact on the Swaggart empire. Will the ministry survive this exposure, or is this the beginning of a larger unraveling? Looking ahead, as the Swaggart family grapples with these revelations, one thing is clear: the silence has ended. The truth, long buried beneath layers of discretion and family loyalty, is now in the open. Whether this leads to healing, further conflict, or a complete transformation of the family dynamic remains to be seen. Mathew's wife's courageous step in speaking out has not only highlighted the hidden rifts, but also humanized the family in a way few expected. Fans, followers, and observers now wait with bated breath to see what unfolds next in one of gospel's most high-profile families, the divide that no one wanted to admit. For years, family dinners at the Swaggart household were painted as warm, prayer-filled evenings where unity reigned supreme. But according to Mathew's wife, the truth was far from it. She revealed that behind the soft lighting of family gatherings, voices often rose in heated tones. Donnie, the elder figure in the room, allegedly treated Gabriel and Mathew very differently. Gabriel was always under scrutiny, she said. Every decision he made, every sermon he preached, every idea he presented, Donnie would find something to criticize. Meanwhile, Mathew was often ignored or dismissed altogether. It was as though his contributions didn't matter unless they served Donnie's vision. This unequal treatment, she admitted, left scars on both brothers, scars that would only deepen over time. The silent burden of Mathew's wife. While the public saw Mathew as the calm, quiet member of the Swaggart family, few realized the toll the internal rift took on his household. His wife carried the emotional weight in silence. There were nights when Mathew would sit in the living room, his head in his hands, saying nothing for hours, she revealed, tears welling in her eyes. I knew the pressure was crushing him. He was torn between respecting his father, Donnie, and standing by his brother, Gabriel. It was a no-win situation. At times, she admitted, she even begged him to step away from ministry altogether. I told him, maybe we should just live a normal life. Leave the cameras, the lights, the preaching. Let's find peace somewhere else. But Mathew would always say, it's in my blood. This is who we are. Insiders speak. Staff members break their silence. Her words were later echoed by whispers from ministry staff who, under the condition of anonymity, shared their experiences. One staff member. You could feel the tension in meetings. Donnie's voice dominated the room, and Gabriel often looked frustrated. Mathew would try to mediate, but it was obvious he wasn't given the same respect. We were told not to talk about it, but everyone knew. Another longtime church worker confessed. The family projected unity, but we saw the cracks. Sometimes Gabriel would storm out of meetings, sometimes Mathew would just go quiet, looking defeated. It was uncomfortable for everyone. The staff described an unspoken rule: never question Donnie's decisions, even when they clearly upset his sons. Those who did risk being sidelined, or worse, losing their jobs. The dinner that changed everything. According to Mathew's wife, one particular family dinner became the breaking point. It started with a casual discussion about expanding the ministry's media presence. Gabriel reportedly suggested a new direction involving more youth-oriented outreach and modern platforms. Donnie immediately shot down the idea, allegedly saying, "This ministry doesn't need gimmicks. What worked for my father and for me will work for you, if you stay in your lane." The room went silent. Gabriel clenched his jaw, Mathew tried to intervene, and tensions exploded. Gabriel slammed his hand on the table, Mathew's wife recalled. He said, "You'll never let me grow. You'll never let me lead. You're suffocating this ministry." And then he walked out. That night changed everything. After that, things were never the same. The pressure to stay silent. For years after, Mathew's wife admitted she was pressured to keep quiet. Speaking out about family matters was taboo. Any attempt to raise concerns was met with cold reminders about loyalty and legacy. "We were told that the family's image was more important than our pain," she said. "It was about protecting the name, the ministry, the empire. But what about protecting the people in it? What about protecting my husband from breaking under the weight of it all?" She described feeling trapped, suffocated by an unspoken expectation that wives were meant to smile, stay supportive, and never question the hierarchy. The rift becomes public without words. Though no official statements were made, the public began noticing subtle signs of tension. Eagle-eyed church members whispered about how Gabriel and Donnie rarely stood together for long at events. Some noticed how Mathew quietly avoided certain discussions, often excusing himself from the spotlight. Social media clips began circulating, moments where Gabriel's frustration seemed barely contained, or where Donnie's dismissive tone toward him raised eyebrows. It was all there, Mathew's wife explained. People just didn't want to believe. The breaking point. By the time Mathew's wife decided to speak out, years of bottled emotions had built up inside her. "I had been carrying this weight for too long," she confessed. "Watching my husband suffer silently, watching his brother struggle, and seeing how Donnie's choices deepened the rift, it broke me. I couldn't keep the facade any longer. I had to let the truth out, even if it meant backlash." Her confession has opened a floodgate, giving voice to years of speculation and igniting debates across the gospel community. What comes next? With the silence broken, the Swaggart family now faces a pivotal moment. Will Donnie, Gabriel, and Mathew confront these tensions openly, or will they retreat further into silence, risking an even deeper fracture? Some insiders believe the family may attempt to downplay the revelation, framing it as exaggeration or misinterpretation. Others argue that the confession is too explosive to be ignored, and that transparency may be the only way forward. As one staff member put it, "This is history repeating itself. The Swaggarts have faced scandals before, but this is different. This is family against family, and when the cracks show in the foundation, the whole house is..." The bombshell lands. When Mathew's wife finally broke her silence, the confession spread like wildfire. Within hours, gospel forums lit up, YouTube commentary channels churned out videos, and Facebook groups dedicated to the Swaggarts were flooded with debates. Some accused her of betraying family trust. Others hailed her courage for revealing what so many had quietly suspected. The Swaggart empire, known for guarding its internal affairs with secrecy, suddenly found itself under a glaring spotlight. She ripped the veil,